Hi, Pete. This is a hot one today, guys. Good morning, everybody. Well, it's evening. I'm out to practice setting up my tent in the wild. This will be my first time doing this type of a tent in a wild environment by myself. So let's see how it turns out. Okay, so after all that struggling, I'm hoping this is going to be okay. What I was saying is that before is that I have the outer part, the fly, separate from the mesh, and I did that for packing reasons a while back, and but my intention is to keep it clipped in so that I won't have to be scrambling around in the dirt. And the ground sheet that I ordered is for this tent specifically, so it should be, you know, perfect. Man, it is so hot out here. It was almost 90 when I left at 5. I got here at 5:30. But the tent site's great. There's another one up the trail a little bit if this one's taken. But right now, I think I'm going to bring extra tent stakes. I wanted to try out several different kinds. I have these, which came with the tent. And then I have some of the little regular hooks to go in. And on the back side here, I have one of the plastic ones. And I think I'm going to bring the extra 3 or 4 plastic ones that I have because they seem to go in the dirt better. It's soft dirt here. But with this tent, my main fear is it not being stable. As you saw, it went down a little bit, came down a couple times on me. But I love this tent for several reasons. Let me put this down here for a minute. The doors are on the sides. And see, I don't feel comfortable with the way that is inside. It looks like it's not taut. So I would probably adjust this a little bit. But the doors are on the sides and the poles are not in your way when you go to get in and out of the tent. Additionally, it has 2 sides. So if you do have 2 people in here, which I don't ever intend to have because it's really, I got that size for 2 so I'd have extra room for my stuff inside. I don't like to share. But the inners clip on like that. And then there's 2 on the top. You have these little vents right here on the side that come out for air. I don't know, I just really like this tent. And once I get better with it, you know, putting it up, I think it'll be a lot easier with the mesh hooked on the inside already and with the other ground sheet. But I wanted to come out into an area that was kind of, you know, it was a tent site. It wasn't like I was stealth camping or anything, and just practice with it. This is probably not the site I'm going to stay at, but it's a good practice site because it's only a mile in from the road. Another thing I noticed is that I packed my pack wrong. I was in such a hurry because I have to work tonight, and it's also the sun's going to go down and I have to hike back out. So my next thing is going to be to fold up the tent and put it back in the bag. So let's get started. I don't know if I got that last little bit in, but I was rolling up my tent. I thought I had the camera on, and I stuffed it back into the sack. I really got to prepare and practice rolling up my tent. So it's 6:30. Got everything packed up and I got to hike back out to my car. It's really hot today. I didn't have my camera on when I was rolling up the tent, so I forgot I didn't click the button. So, but I you know, that was pretty quick. It's easy to stuff into the sack, but I gotta get back to my car because I gotta go to work. Here we go. Bye, practice tent site. I'm loving these daisies. Okay, so what I learned a little bit today is that, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but actually I think I'm just going to make that segment with the tent set up in a time lapse, so you wouldn't be able to hear me talking anyway. But I did, like I said, I had ordered a ground sheet just for that tent, so the polycry sheet that I cut was very small. It did go under the inner mesh, okay, but hopefully the specific ground sheet, sorry, let me get over, no, I can't do that, that I bought will fit better. But I want to have a little bit of polycry anyway for my knees and stuff. I did also learn that my tent poles, which are my trekking poles, the one doesn't seem to be holding and the latch, it's collapsible. So I have to check that out, and I want to bring one of my Durst and Flick tent poles along just in case that becomes a problem. And I wasn't real happy with the tub part of it. It seemed a little wrinkly inside, and it took me a couple tries. But now I got the mesh hooked in the inside, so I won't have to worry about getting under there and clipping that in. The whole point of being able to do that is if it's raining or something and you want to really quick set up your tent with just the rain fly, get all your gear underneath of it and keep it dry in case it is raining, and then you can clip everything in after that. And also the fact that you could keep your rain fly on the outside of your tent, or it doesn't matter, and your mesh inside your tent and dry. So this tent gives you options, you know, and I like options. I had also brought along my cook set and my little MSR burner. I was gonna practice heating up a cup of coffee. I've done that once or twice at home. I don't think it's gonna be much different out in the woods, but you never know. You know, trying to find a level surface and keep it away from brush. And if it's windy, I did get a wind guard for the stove. But I didn't really have time to do that today. It took me from the time I got to the parking to the tent site, set up my tent and put it away, it only took me an hour. So that's not bad, right? You know, I'm sorry this is such low quality video. I'm just winging it today. This was a spontaneous move on my part. I ran into a lady and her daughter. They had just come back from either that tent site or the one up from it, and they said it was a good tent site. So, you know, got some accolades there anyway. Hey, back in my car, getting ready to head home. That was a good thing for me to do. It's a weight off my mind knowing that I can sort of potentially set up the tent in a tent site area. So, you know, fingers crossed. But, hold on. Sorry about that, I had my radio on. But I'm heading home, and I'll be back out in the woods camping by myself sometime very soon. Until my next video, I hope you all have a nice week. Hi, bye Pete, and namaste.